My name is Alex Pennington, and we are the Aspiring Writers United. And today I'm here with Arabella Federico. I can't laugh out saying it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
How are you doing? Thank you
I'm
for joining
great.
me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And
Happy to be here.
congratulations on your book launch.
Thanks. I'm
How
really
has that been
excited.
going?
Good. We release September 6th, so it's not quite here yet, but it's been really, really good. All the ARC readers and early feedback has been really good. Um, and yeah, the we found some typos and stuff in the almost final copy. So we kind of got a lot of those scrubbed out, and I'll have like the final copies by Sunday, and then I'm going to start uploading. So it's just crazy.
Isn't it amazing that you will go through several rounds of editing and there's still always like a couple of typos that make it through?
It's insane because I had two separate editors. So I had my developmental editor and then a line editor who she went through that book so many times, and she also did the proofread. And yeah, still it's just insane. And I was talking to my formatter, who is the one that has to obviously fix the typos for me at this point because she's formatting. And I told her, I was like, my poor line editor, because this is my first book, right? And I have never had to write at such like a high quality, with the grammar and stuff. And I feel like I excel mostly like in the storytelling and the
Hmm.
character and like
Yeah.
craft aspect. Like grammar is my weakest point. Like it's rough. It's hard for me. So yeah, I
So
need
where
people who know better.
isn't it amazing that like you will have like the storytelling aspect or the grammar, like you'll have something going for you. It's like
Hmm.
the reverse where you see the authors with super poetic pose, and but the story is like, eh, not
Yeah.
that great.
Yeah, it's like one or the other.
Mm. So where did your journey kind of start? Like, where did this all begin for you?
Oh gosh. So when I was about 12, 13, I was in middle school, and my parents worked, so they worked early. So the only way I could get a ride to school, because I was technically too close for the bus, but it was really far, and I couldn't walk there in the morning because it was just too dangerous. And so I had to go to school like 2 hours early, and I would basically sit in the cafeteria by myself before anybody was even
Oh,
there, way before the lunch people or the breakfast people, the chefs even got there. And so I I wrote a lot of fan fiction at that time.
fan
And
fiction.
yeah, so I got obsessed with like Lord of the Rings, the original Spider-Man with Tobey
Okay.
Maguire, X-Men. Those movies really, really inspired story for me. And I knew by watching those films that I wanted to
Mhm.
write and create stories. And I didn't actually start reading until that time, about 12, 13. I didn't think I could read or retain it.
Yeah.
And the first book I ever read was The Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks, and it took off from there. I actually collect his books, all hardback first editions. I'm only
Ooh,
missing two, and they're both
wow.
very expensive, but I'll get them someday. But I love him, and that's really where it started. So with fan fiction, and yeah, I have a bunch of them handwritten in notebooks.
So that will be your like special edition whenever you like become famous.
Yeah,
Like, all right, guys, who wants to read some of my fan fiction? You know
yeah.
you do.
I was thinking where those are. I know I have them, but I just don't know where they are because I'm like making a release video for my TikTok because that's where I have
Oh,
the most followers. And
really?
I was doing like a compilation because on my Instagram I have the stories, how you can like keep
Yeah,
the
yeah.
stories. So I have one just dedicated to the book, and it goes back like 140 weeks or something. It goes way back, way when I first did the first draft. And so I'm doing like, starting from like
Mhm.
140 some weeks to today, and it like
That's
convolutes all
awesome.
together. So I was looking for those notebooks, but I couldn't find them.
Oh,
I know.
Okay, I just have to ask. So you're doing like book talk, or are you like
Yeah.
author? How does that how does that work out? Like I've never even approached that.
It's crazy. It's my biggest platform. I have almost 30,000 on there.
Thirty thousand.
Yeah, I don't know how. I just kind of, I was just really consistent with it, and it built
That's
very
awesome.
slow. Yeah, it was a slow build. It wasn't like I had one video that did it for me, which happens a lot. TikTok is kind of it's its own beast, I
Mhm.
guess. And it's funny because, I have a YouTube channel, but as you know, YouTube takes a very long time to get going.
You have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's
I didn't know
small
you had a
though.
YouTube channel.
It's really small.
Oh my
I pretty
goodness.
much just post my TikToks on there. But I have like
You'll get
regular.
big doing that though. That
Yeah,
works.
no, the shorts on it's gotten me almost to 1,000 followers, so on
That's
YouTube. But
good.
I've had it for like 2 years though. So it's
But how frequently are you posting though?
the TikToks I'm
Mm.
posting like maybe every couple of days.
But like on the
So
YouTube, like how frequently do you update the YouTube?
every couple of days I'll
Oh,
take
okay,
the
you're posting on there.
TikToks and put them into the
Okay.
YouTube.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
I don't do much of like the regular videos.
Mhm.
Gosh, I haven't done a regular video for like 8 months. But even then, before I started posting my TikToks, I wasn't super consistent with it. And
Yeah.
I know you have to be like to be really successful on here. But yeah, book talk is it's cool. I really like it there. I feel like a lot of the creators there are really cool. The
Mhm.
thing about it that I don't like is that there's just a lot of drama, and I
Yeah.
completely stay out of it. I learned really early, like there was a debate about if you as an indie author should hire an editor. And there is a
Yep.
camp that says absolutely, and there's a camp that says no, I don't have to because I can't afford it. And their theory is that because I can't afford it doesn't mean I can't publish, which is fine. I mean, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
For me personally, this is a profession.
Exactly.
This is serious, and just for me in my own personal thing,
Mhm.
I need help. I need editors, like we explained earlier. I suck at grammar,
Mhm.
and I want to play ball with the big leagues, so I need to
Yes.
invest in make it a professional product. But there are people who like just they don't need it and they don't can't afford it, and I don't look down on anybody for that. It's just for me, it's not what I do. And I posted a video about that, and it people started like stitching it, which is kind of like where they can take a piece of what you
Yeah.
say and make it into their own video.
Mhm.
And they were taking me so out of context. People were unfollowing me. They
Wow.
said they said that I was telling them that they don't deserve to be published because they can't afford to. And I never said any of that. They
Yeah,
just
that's obviously not what
completely
you said.
no. And so ever since then, I stay out of everything. Unless it's a hill I want to die on, I just
Yeah. Like no
no.
thanks, guys.
No. No.
Well,
And yeah, but there's a power in book talk where
mhm.
like there are several book talk authors that they have their books, typically they have like two books published or one or two, but a video goes viral and it like makes their career, like
Sure.
it sets them up. And that's the beauty and the power of that platform, is that anytime you can go viral and your book could take off
That's
and you're
awesome.
you're set, like. And so
Might have to get on
that's
that.
why I'm on there. The community is really great too, and I've met
Mhm.
so many amazing people on there. So I like it. I think the
Yeah.
pros definitely outweigh the cons.
So Ashley Early, she's on Book Talk. She does videos. I don't know if you follow her, but
What
she
was her
was
name?
my editor for my manuscript. And I'm actually gonna be giving it to her next week. But I gave
Oh,
it to her
nice.
before a couple months ago, and there were just stuff I wasn't even saying. Like I was just oblivious to.
Mm-hmm.
But because I mean, I just hadn't read it. She has an education and actually, studied this. But like, I'm just thinking of like if you're gonna publish a book, it's like there are so many things you just might not know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, because majority of people self-publishing, I don't know about you, but probably don't have writing degrees.
No.
So it's like unless you've dedicated a lot of time to reading some of these books on structure and stuff, which was my weakness literary structure. It's like you're just not gonna know. So
No.
I don't think that you can be successful without an editor. Like I just don't, unless you get really lucky.
Yeah, yeah. And readers are very unforgiving when
Yeah.
it comes to that kind of thing. But like I
Mhm.
think it's unfair because I think readers are more likely to be unforgiving about typos than they are about like plot
True.
structure,
That's
which I
true.
don't know. Uh I
You
I
see one
don't I
typo.
don't get it because for me I just graze over the
Yeah.
typos because I just don't see them. But
Mhm.
like I said, I'm not geared for that. Like my sister is totally one of those people that sees every little thing. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
But like for example, like I actually spent years studying craft, years and
Okay.
years, and I paid a lot of money for my developmental editor. So
Yeah.
even someone like me who knows a
Mhm.
ton about story structure still had a developmental editor and I needed it. So like I don't know.
Mhm.
I get that like they're super expensive and I'm not like, you know, I'll be rich soon. Like I'm not poor and I'm
I
not
will be.
rich at the same time. Like I don't like saying that I'm not rich because like I believe words have power. So I am rich, but I'm not there yet. But anyway, but
Gonna
like
happen.
I poured my savings into
Yeah.
this editor. Like and I I'm a homeowner. Like it's not the smartest thing
Yeah.
to do. So I had to sacrifice a lot to pay
Mhm.
for my editor. So it's not like I don't like totally get that
Yeah.
like shit's expensive. It is. But like I said earlier, I'm playing ball here. Like it's
Well,
it's
like,
yeah.
if you go the traditional route, they're going to have, you're going to be working with an editor, right? Like
Yeah.
you take Random House, Simon and Schuster, however you say it. You're going to be working with editors. So it's like if these huge best-selling publishing houses think, hey, your manuscript is good, but you need an editor, why would you ever think doing it yourself that you wouldn't need an editor?
Yeah.
And so if you're like serious about making a profession, I just see that really as like something you just have to invest.
I agree. Yeah. And I think maybe that's kind of where self-published books kind of get a bad rap.
That is it's the typos. I think that kills them.
Yeah. And like it, it's tough and I wish everybody could, afford it and I wish everybody
Mhm.
could, have
Yeah.
their dreams happen and but it's also like if you want it, you get it
You got to
somehow.
save, just save
Yeah.
for years. I mean, that's kind of thing. I just did a video of this a couple days ago, so it's like on top of my head still. But like, writing takes a couple of years, right? You're
Hmm.
probably not going to get published in a year. So
No.
it's like if you consciously go, hey, I'm going to need an editor in like a year or two, and you just start saving then, it's
Hmm.
doable.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
absolutely is.
it's not impossible. It just takes a while.
Yeah, exactly. And it it's just yeah, and it's just how I think it needs to be. And I think it's just the industry,
Yeah.
like it just is what it is. And but some people are going to do it how they do it.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. It's just however you want to do it. All you know people like us can do with a platform is just give our advice and people can
Yeah.
take it or leave it. And unfortunately, that's just what they do. But even people that do have editors, they're not the best editors, and they may
Yeah. It's a
they may not
person.
get the
They're not
story.
perfect.
No, and it's just
Well, your
it kind
editor,
of
you
yeah.
had Sanderson's editor, so he might actually be perfect. He might be.
It's a
Like,
she, actually.
really? It's a
It's
she.
a lady. Yeah, she's
I
so
didn't know
amazing. I
that.
actually just talked to her on the phone today because she's just amazing. And so she did Mistborn, and then she did the Daughter of the Pirate King duology as well.
Oh, wow. I didn't know she did that one too.
Yeah, she did both. So, and
That's
she's
awesome.
done over 1,000 books, and so she is like literally a genius. Like,
Wow.
I know when I got her, I found her and I remember laughing because I had a couple other editors picked out, and I came across her and I saw her portfolio, and just, I mean, the list of the books that she's done, it's so long I couldn't get
Yeah.
through it. It was literally so long. And when I sent a form out for her, I laughed and I was like, I'm probably not going to get an offer from her.
Yeah.
And when I submitted to her, I got like an auto email back saying, basically, I choose my projects very selectively.
Mhm.
Basically, don't get your hopes up. I probably won't pick you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm summarizing it, but she said it a lot nicer. And within 4 hours, I had an offer from her.
4 hours.
Very, very quick. Yeah, she was on it. So I think I sent her, like, I don't remember how much of the manuscript I sent her, a very short amount, maybe the first 2 chapters or something, and then the summary of it. And so she was like hooked from it immediately. And, I was like, I did my due diligence. I went to Barnes and Nobles and found Mistborn in the Pirate King books,
Yeah.
and she was in the back in the acknowledgments.
Oh
So,
yeah.
because she is very expensive. um, and so
I bet.
yeah, so I had to do my due diligence to make sure, like, I was actually,
This isn't
this is
just like a scammer or just some random person
yeah.
impersonator. Okay, so I
Yes.
have to ask, why did you go self-published and not traditional? Because like
So
you have the dream setup here for a traditional book.
I know, it's amazing. Okay, so I was gonna self-publish, and you're probably gonna think I'm a nutcase after you hear this story, but bear with me. So I had always planned on doing trad. That was my path for a long
Yeah.
time. If you dig back into my like Instagram far enough, you'll see that. And it was when I joined TikTok, freaking TikTok, man. Um, I just kept getting this gut feeling that like trad wasn't the way to go. And it
Interesting.
just was a really like nasty feeling. I don't
Mm.
know how else to describe it. And I'm a
Yeah.
very like intuitive
Yeah.
person. I'm a Pisces, so like I have a very good intuition, like spooky good.
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay, that's an earth sign, I think. So that's pretty good. Um, but I have a good intuition and I trust it.
Mm.
And it it took me a while to think about, like, could I do indie? Like, what would that look like and
Mhm.
all of that. And I was actually very against it for a while, but I kept getting this nagging feeling like, no, it's just not
Yeah.
the path for me. And you know, once I decided to switch, it just felt so much better. And, so far everything has gone off just so perfectly. Um, and that just tells me that like I made the right choice. I guess I'll really know once the book comes out, and
Yeah.
how it does. But it's just the first book, and I know like the first one, it's I don't know what'll happen. I hope it does well. Um, I hope to get an audiobook funded. I might even do Kickstarter for the audiobook.
Worked for Sanderson.
It did work for him. I know that guy. Holy shit. Crazy how that is. But yeah, I hope to do that. I'll have a hardback special release during Christmas time, and then hopefully release book 2 because it's a trilogy
Oh, nice.
next year at around the same time.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of taking the trad pub schedule.
It's a
Um
good schedule, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of indie is rapid release, and I
I
don't get that.
I feel
I
like that kills quality. I feel like that's
uh,
part of the problem.
yeah,
It's
I
like, how fast can
wish.
I get this book out? And it's like, that should not
Ugh.
be your priority.
Yeah, and like even just a year is really fast for me because it took me, 3 to
Mhm.
write the first one, but
Goes by
like
very
that's
fast.
that's way too long. 3 years is ridiculous. And I don't think I'm at that level now. I think I've come a long way.
Mhm.
And my editor, Brandon Sanderson's editor, she really like set me up really good. She she took a lot of extra time with me that was
That's
above
so
and beyond
cool.
our contract. Yeah, she's kind of like a mentor to
She's
me.
betting
Like
on you.
she is,
That's
and
so
it's
cool.
I know, but it's like so nerve-wracking because like she really believes in the
You're gonna
story.
be the
Like
next Sanderson. That's she's thinking like this here, the Brando Sando right here.
yeah, she does believe in it a lot, and I just don't want to let her down. I don't want to let
Yeah.
anybody down. So it's just, I just hope that I did a good enough job. Like it's not gonna be perfect. I know that. But hopefully, it makes her proud and she doesn't feel like she wasted all this extra time on me.
I feel like you checked like all the boxes though. I
Well,
mean,
like, what do
like
you mean?
you're
What
well, like
boxes?
okay, so like when you think of self-published, it's like you need a good story, you need to be well edited, you should probably have a good social media following, you need a really good cover. Like there are certain things that you can do to set yourself up for success. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, whenever I saw your book cover, I was like, wow, this is pretty good. Like
yeah.
self-published books, yours looks like a traditionally published book. And you can
And I did,
usually
yeah,
tell
yeah,
self-published covers from traditional covers.
yeah.
And
And
so
I
like
did that
between
on
that,
purpose.
yeah. How did you go about getting that cover?
Okay, I was just gonna tell you like there's a crazy story behind the cover.
Please
So
tell me.
I'm glad you asked. Okay, so I think months and months and months before I had the cover done, I had, researched cover artists
Mhm.
because I had said from the get, okay, I want my book to look like a trad pub because
Yeah,
no matter what anybody says, people have an icky feeling about indies, and
100%. Yeah.
I wanted my book to look like it belongs next to every trad pub out there.
Mhm.
And I own my own publishing house, so it has it's on paper it looks like a trad book.
I
Like
feel like we're
it
gonna have to talk about that next.
Okay. Okay, because it's on the spine and everything. I could even go get the book for you if you wanted to see it. But I I wanted it to look like a trad pub book,
Mhm.
so that's what I was looking for when I was looking for artists. And so I had a list and I had like the top three. And so I actually scored the girl that I wanted most, and I was so excited. And the time came, I gave her everything that I wanted, and she ghosted me.
She ghosted you.
She ghosted me big time.
Wow.
Never replied
Did
to
you
I
pay
thought
her?
she
Have you
died.
paid her?
No.
Okay, but
Yeah.
wow.
But
Ghost.
I was in trouble because this was, I think, in March, last
Oh
March,
no.
and I needed a cover. And if you know anything about really good indie cover artists, is that they are booked out
Yeah.
very
Yeah, you're
far.
not gonna
And
get a good cover in 4 months, usually.
no, no. And I had my cover reveal was scheduled for May. So it was
Oh crap.
Yeah, it was sometime in March and I had it scheduled for May. And so I thought she died because she was like all her social medias were just gone, like nothing, not an update, not a post, not a story. I thought this girl
Okay, so May
legitimately
wasn't just
died.
you. Wow.
Yeah, well, because she just didn't seem like the type that just wouldn't respond. And I kept
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, are you okay? I'm worried about you." And then eventually I had to start looking for other people. And
Yeah.
so I went back to my list. Most of the people couldn't fit me in, and then I found the gal who did do my cover,
Mhm.
and she I had to pay her extra, but she
Of
got me
course.
in, and she did the cover. And so had this one gal not ghosted me, I never would have had the cover that I have. So it
Isn't
just
it
worked
funny how that
out.
works out? Like
Yeah,
I
that's
imagine
like,
you were probably freaking out at the time.
oh,
But
I was pissed too. I was pissed because I'm like, are you kidding me? Like
yeah.
this, I was just so, I don't know. I was pissed. Like
Did
that's
you
just
ever
really
find
the
out what
best way to put
happened
it.
to her?
She said something happened in her life, her personal life, but she did eventually get back to me. I think way after. I think after I even put the book cover out because I had to
That's
message her
funny.
and say,
That
dude, I'm sorry, you're not responding to me. I have to get out of this. I need to
yeah.
find somebody else because you're not replying. Like I'm sorry, but bye,
Mhm.
And what's so cool about the cover, and I might have said this in the cover reveal thing, so I'm not sure if I did, but the sword, they created it for me. The cover artist had another artist do the sword from the description of the book. So it's
A literal
literally like
sword?
my sword.
Wait. Okay, wait. It's not a literal sword though, right?
No, no,
I
seriously,
couldn't.
at some point, I love
But
that,
it's like
but
okay, specially
the
designed
picture of
sword.
it.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So go back and look at it closer when you're done here because there's so many details on it. And
That's so cool.
yeah, because all the characters, like there's 5 characters, they're called star seeds in the book, and they each get like their own individual, like legendary ancient weapon. And
That's awesome.
so the next book is going to have another weapon, and then the next one's going to have another
Oh,
weapon.
oh, that's
And
sweet. I
yeah,
like that.
yeah. So that's the story about the cover. And it's just nuts because it wasn't going to be that. And kind of like I
Yeah,
said earlier, like everything is just working out so
that's
perfectly because I always said that like writing is my destiny and the universe has my back on this. And
mhm.
it just feels good. It feels right,
That's
like it's
so
the right path.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it really does seem like you kind of have everything going for you on this.
let's hope
Like, I
so.
mean, yeah, I mean, like, you probably couldn't find a better editor.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah, like cover designer. I mean, again, if you put your book beside a traditional one, like, I don't, I don't think you'll be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't. I did that on purpose.
yeah, and I like, I whenever I first saw it, like, 'cause you know how there's always I can't remember the title of the books, but swords and YA covers. You see that
Totally.
around. Like that's
Yeah,
what it reminded me of. Like I saw
yeah.
yours and I went, this is like I won't say blends in, but it's like this is what it would look like at a traditional house.
Yeah, and that's the thing with book covers is that you want it to blend in but also
Mhm.
stand out. It's a
Yeah,
very fine line, and I feel like it accomplishes both of those. Like I really feel like it does. And it's
mhm.
purple, and purple books are like really in right now too, which was
Oh,
just
that's
a
cool.
coincidence.
Another coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah, really, it's the universe just shining down on me.
Oh, so you have a publishing house. You own a
Yes.
publishing. What is the story there? I can't think of anyone who I've ever actually met who's like, oh yeah, I have a publishing house.
I know I kind of just threw it out there like, woo. Um, but
Casual.
again, it's kind of like I said, just like doing this like as professionally as I
Mhm.
can. And I wanted again to kind of like I don't like to say like hoodwink or fool readers, but like I want to look like a trad
You want
book.
to look
And
legit, professional.
yeah, yeah. And so I know that, readers, see the like on the spine, they see like
Yeah.
the publisher house logo on the
Mhm.
bottom of it, or and you needed that. I don't think you need that for Barnes and Noble, but like
It's
it's
gonna
just
make
I
you look.
wanted
It's the small details that matter.
yeah, yeah, and I wanted to have I just wanted to have that extra piece. So it's a full LLC. It's and I'll run the business through the LLC.
Okay.
So I'll and
Very
it
nice.
just yeah, yeah. So it's just kind of done all separate.
Mhm.
And I guess I just try to set myself up for like the most success that I can and just hope that it's worth it and I didn't spend, my entire savings on something that
I
won't ever come to yeah. So
well, I feel
hopefully it does good.
like I said, I feel like you've done it all right. Like,
I
again,
feel so.
well, because you're in my Facebook group, right?
Yeah, I think I
I,
am.
there's so many self-published authors, and there's a lot of them who are like, I self-published this book, but it hadn't sold any copies. What did I do wrong? And it's like, did you get an editor? No, not really. Did you spend a bunch of money on the cover? No, not really. It's like you have to do these things, and it's like it just makes such a huge difference in your career overall.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And that's why I did it the way that I did. Because it's like you really only have one shot at being a
Yeah,
debut too, and
it's your moment. No
Yeah, I hope
pressure.
that,
No
yeah,
pressure on you.
I know. I know.
This is the most important moment of your life.
I know it is really big. I just, and it's crazy because like reviewers, has started, doing like Goodreads reviews and stuff. And
Yeah.
every time I go to that website, I get like hot and like I start to sweat literally because it's just like it's crazy because like I really have never had much of my work, out there like this. I have a
Yeah.
short story, like a novelette in my newsletter that a lot of people have read.
Mhm.
But that's it. And it's just like it's just really, really scary because it my book had like, and you've read the synopsis, I think, when
Yeah.
I did the the cover reveal.
Mhm.
It's different, but like the same, kind of like the book cover thing. I think like all good books, and a piece of advice that I would give to anyone who is wanting to write is that it needs to be different but the same, just like the book covers, because readers want something they like. You want a good comp title, like a
Mhm.
for mine is kind of like Avengers meets Sailor Moon type of combo, or Aurora
Those are
Rising meets
awesome comp
Renegades.
titles.
Yeah, yeah. Or even Arcane meets Sailor Moon. That's another
Ooh.
really good
Mhm.
mix of what my book is.
Yeah.
But with aliens. But like I know that not
That's a good
everybody is
hook.
gonna get it. And that's scary
But
that like,
everyone knows what the Avengers are. Everyone knows
yeah,
let's be honest, everyone knows what Sailor Moon is, unless you're like in your 40s.
yeah,
Well, even
Sailor Moon's
actually maybe
amazing.
then. I don't know. Sailor Moon's
Can you
pretty
see it? That
famous.
look, do you see it? Do you
Oh
see
my
the
god.
costume?
Yes.
Oh,
that
so yeah, clearly
that's
I'm
what
a
you have to
fan.
wear to your first like signing. That's
Oh my gosh, no.
Are you an
Oh,
anime person?
yeah, I've
Oh,
actually
that's
been watching Dragon Ball Z. My dog passed away about a
oh, I'm
month
so
ago, a little
sorry.
over a month ago,
I'm
and
sorry.
thank you. Ever since she died, I've been watching Dragon Ball Z like every day
Aw.
because it's what I watched when I was a kid. It's
Yeah, I
favorite
grew up on that
anime.
too. Yeah, I'm an anime and manga guy.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I had a question off the top of my head. Did you see the new Dragon Ball movie?
Which one?
The newest one, it came out like last week.
What? No,
So
I didn't know they had a new one.
small sidetrack here, just because you're a
It's
fan.
actually, yeah.
So they initially released the trailers for it like a couple months ago, and people
Okay.
trashed it like
Oh
hardcore.
no.
Well, because they changed the animation to this like video game
Uh,
3D.
oh,
It looked
okay.
really bad. It looked
Oh
like
no.
PS2.
Oh,
And it is
no.
like the best movie they've had. It like broke all the
Really?
records.
Really? How
Yeah,
is it in theaters? Because I
in
know
theater.
sometimes it
Yeah,
is.
it's in theaters
Interesting.
everywhere and just like blowing up.
How did I not know about this? That's
Yeah.
insane. Because I just Googled like a week ago if they would ever do another live action.
Oh,
Because
not live
Dragon
action.
Ball,
It's
it's
not live
not.
action. Huh?
Right. Yeah, but I Googled to see if one was in the works. I do that
Uh,
every couple of years because I really want them to do it.
have to
And
do it right.
it has to, but they can if they get the right people and the right director and the right like CGI graphics people,
Yeah,
they can do it.
they
They
can
don't
make
need
this
the hair
happen.
standing up on end like Vegeta
Just have
or
it
Goku.
fluttering or something.
They don't need that. They just need, people with black hair or, Bulma, people
Yeah,
with blue hair. Like it's not that hard.
this isn't that
And
difficult, guys.
if they could do like Transformers and make those robots
Right?
go from a car to a fucking robot, sorry, excuse my language, and transform
I
into
love
that, they can do a Super Saiyan transformation. I don't get
I
it. It's
love
not
that comparison. Golden energy, maybe some wavy hair, guys. Source of
I
gel to
know.
dye. This
Get a
isn't rocket
fan.
science.
Yeah, just get a fan. It's not hard. So they can do it, but I think because, they botched the only live
Yeah.
action that they've ever done, which was god awful, made
So
no
bad.
sense whatsoever.
And the sequel, because they had to go for round two. I think they did. I
No,
think
they
they
never
gave that.
did.
No, okay, good.
Not a live action one anyway, but I'll have to check out the new animated one.
Yeah.
I probably won't go to the theaters and see it, but I'm just shocked that I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I don't there's not a lot of publicity for
Interesting. Where in the storyline does it fall? Like, is
it.
it
It's
during Super or
it's
what?
Super. It's in
Okay.
Super. I only think because Goku and Vegeta are just training. It's like Gohan and Piccolo's story. They're kind of
Oh,
unique in that, and they do a good job.
okay. Have you seen it?
I've seen a lot of clips.
Okay. Okay. Well, because I actually am not a fan of Super. I kind of didn't like
It's
it.
not. Yeah, no, I'm okay. I like the Broly movie, and I
Broly
like
movie was good.
that was
I
all.
just watched that too. That
I
one was
liked
good.
the. I liked. Okay, I liked the whole. I like the tournament in power in terms of Goku and Jiren and that whole dynamic.
Yeah,
Didn't
that
really
was
like any
okay.
of it else. And
Yeah, I think
Gohan, they just wasted.
I hate what they did to Gohan, and I
He's just
know
irrelevant.
he is. I know, and I heard that Toriyama, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah,
The guy who writes it. I heard that he wanted Gohan
he,
originally
yeah.
to surpass Goku and stay that
Mhm.
way, but the fans wanted Goku, and so he just made him
That
a
was exactly
loser.
it.
Ugh, stupid. But the thing I didn't like about Super was Goku's character was just stupid.
It was
They
so
made
stupid.
they made
It was
him like
so
a
bad.
okay, oh, all right,
He
like
gets them into the tournament that's going to destroy all of their universes, just
I don't
so he
know.
can
It just
fight. What?
yeah, it just felt like it wasn't him like because Goku always like stood for something and he had like a
Mhm.
position and he had his
Yeah.
ethics. Because I'm watching the Frieza saga now, and I just like when they're fighting the Ginyu Force and how he doesn't kill like Raccoon and those
Yes.
guys, but Vegeta does it. Like I just felt like Goku
It was
like
a deeper story.
yeah, yeah, and like even when Krillin gets killed and that's when he turns into Super Saiyan, like it makes sense. And I just felt like in Super he was just like laughing and that was it.
Yeah, that's his
I don't
character. He likes to
yeah,
fight and he's funny. He tries to be funny sometimes.
yeah, they just I don't know, they just didn't do him or like he used
Mhm.
to. And I don't know if it's because I'm an adult now and I watched the originals when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that was why I wanted to because I think the last ones I watched was with the Goku Black or
Oh
whatever,
god, that was a
his
bad
evil
plot
twin.
line. That was a
Yeah, his
bad.
evil twin guy. So
Yeah.
I wanted to see if I could somehow get further into it. I don't know.
He
I don't
becomes
know.
a sludge monster.
See, I don't even remember
And
that. It was a long time ago when I
you know,
watched it.
you know what? I think okay, this is okay. I'd love to get your opinion on this. The thing I hate about Super is that it rushes really
Yeah,
bad. Like,
yeah, it
man, I
does.
mean, I know people kind of meme on like Goku literally transforming for 6 minutes in the Super Saiyan 3, but it's like, you know what? That's what you're there for. It's like,
Yeah.
I want this fight to be 40 episodes long.
Yeah, well,
And
and there's doesn't seem like there's a lot of struggle there for them
no,
either. Like if they're gods basically and they do the red thing and then the blue thing, it's like I think because like
yeah.
I finished the Boo saga and then I started over because
Mhm.
it just makes me feel better. And
Yeah.
during the during the Boo saga because I started with Cell saga and I did Boo and now I'm back to Frieza or the Saiyan saga and now Frieza. And what was so good about that is that with when you start the season with Vegeta and Nappa and then you just keep going, the stakes always get raised
Exactly.
and there's always consequences. They're still
Mhm.
failing. They failed with Cell because Vegeta was an idiot and let him take 18 and then got pummeled and no, like and then you have the Cell game. So there's the writing was just
It's
better
so
in
much
the
better.
original series. And I think what was lacking in Super was it was just terrible writing.
Well, and like with the Boo saga, because Dragon Ball Z invented like transforming in new forms. Like that
Yeah.
was like its thing and people loved it. And like
Yeah.
with the whole Boo thing, it's like he transformed, but he would, defeat one of the main dudes, like he ate Go tanks or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
so you're getting new forms, you're getting higher stakes.
You
And
are.
again, the Boo saga took all these episodes, but it never got boring. Because like
No,
this
and
constant vamping up. Where in
it,
Super, it's like not really. That never. They're a
Yeah.
fight until they go blue and then they win.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I never felt like, oh my God, they're not going to make it, because, even in the Boo Saga, which is my least favorite,
I can see
it
that.
it there was consequences. They failed
Yeah.
constantly, and there's actually such a good character arc in the Boo Saga between Goku and Vegeta, in how
Yes.
Vegeta just has all these issues with Goku, and they can never work together,
Mhm.
and they struggle through the whole that season is so long, and then at the end, they finally come together and do it together, and that's
Mhm.
a culmination of the entire series
Yeah.
that you can tell was thought out, but Super just didn't have it. It
They
just
don't do
didn't
any of
have
that.
any of it. No.
Well, and like in that arc specifically, it's like, starting Vegeta at the very beginning of the series, he's bad guy, and then he
Yeah.
goes to good guy, but then he goes
Hmm.
back to bad guy in that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like you have this really good, it's like a redemption arc, a
Hmm.
fallback, and kind of,
Yeah.
and then again another redemption because he like sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
And so there's like actual quality character development you're seeing
There
here,
is.
and
There
like it
is.
makes him more human, and none of that's in
Absolutely.
Super.
And they lacked, yeah, they don't have any of that in Super. It's like they were trying to rest on what
Hmm.
Toriyama already had done, and they
Yeah.
forgot that what the fans loved was these characters. And I think the one thing about these characters that people love so much is their big personalities.
Mhm.
And like Vegeta, like you said, he's one of my favorite characters. I wrote about him in one of my blogs because I think it was about anti-heroes, and
He's a good
about
one.
how he is such a good example of like how to write an anti-hero, and like even though he's still a good guy, he's still like a total dick, but I
Yeah.
love that about him.
Prideful and like
Yeah.
self-centered and like, yeah.
But at least he stands for something. He's
Stay
like
in pride.
it's just a well-written character, and even Piccolo, they kind of mirror each other a little bit, but Piccolo
Yeah.
and Gohan, I love Gohan in the main series, not in Super because they're stupid. And Videl, like Videl is one of my favorite characters because my natural hair is dark and I have big blue eyes, and we have the same body type, like
Huh?
both short and like petite like that, and so I always used to joke like she was like my cartoon
Oh, that's
look-alike.
awesome.
And so I love her, and I love how all the females are really strong, like personality wise. Like even though
Yeah.
they're not, most of the women, can't really compete with the men except
Mhm.
maybe Android 18. But they're still powerful women.
Like
You,
Chi-Chi. Like she was
yeah,
a good I was actually just reading something that like she was one of like the best anime moms because she's not the stereotypical I'm just going to go cry while you go out to fight. She's like
yeah,
getting mad and stopping them and they have a personality.
exactly. Yeah, they do. All the characters really have their own great personalities, and I don't know. They just failed on Super. It was the writing, and I don't know, like, because Toriyama did write Super, didn't
He did.
he?
He
He
did.
did. So that's just so weird
Well,
to me.
actually, no, he didn't. He did the manga for that. And the manga is a bit different and a little bit better.
Okay.
Still not anything close to the original.
Yeah.
But like, so I remember growing up, the Broly movie, the original, that was like
Yeah.
favorite thing. And like, you talk about like anti-heroes, Vegeta swallowing pride and giving Goku and his power, which I'm pretty sure they did in like every other movie, but that was like the most badass thing. And but it's like you had all this emotional setup that you can do that. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's amazing how good writing can just make a story take off like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I try like, me and my dad go to the movie theater a lot together, and I always tell him, I'm like, that was good because the writing was good.
Yeah.
Like, yes, especially with film, it's so hard because I feel like the writers get the least amount of credit,
Mhm.
because it's it's the director and the actors, or the CGI people,
Yeah.
but really the story would be nothing if it wasn't for the writers. And I'm
Mhm.
like, Dad, you know that there was like a group of people sitting around a table that
Yeah.
wrote that movie. It's not just one person,
Three of
typically,
them.
yeah, typically it's, a staff of writers that write like these real big movies or
Yeah.
whatever. And they just don't get the credit. And
Mm,
but fail or succeed, it really comes down to writing, because
yeah.
you have to tell a good story, and that's just how it is, because humans are just wired for storytelling. They know a good story when they're told. And that's like the thing that I try to like tell people and explain to people in my writing advice videos, is
Mm-hmm.
that like there is a formula, and the formula works.
Yeah.
Period.
Save the
Like
cat.
I get like you want to pants your way through it, you want to have your artistic freedom, whatever, but okay, your wackadoodle plot line doesn't make
Doesn't do
sense to
it.
people.
It's
Like,
so true. And just, it's like people try to be too creative sometimes and they make it harder on themselves than it needs to be.
yeah. And like it's just, and you can be creative with the details. It's just
Yeah.
you have to figure out the plot and how the plot works with your story. And it's hard. Like it
Mm,
took me, I had to rewrite this book 3 separate times to get
dang.
it right,
Yeah.
as a new author. And I studied it for years. And so I get it. It's very complicated. But like the formula does work.
Mm-hmm. Off the
It
top of my head,
does.
I'm thinking, you ever heard of Attack on Titan?
Oh yeah, that's a great anime.
Except
It's
the end.
crazy.
Oh, wait, you haven't seen the ending though, have you?
I don't think so, because there's
The,
three
yeah.
seasons, right?
So
Or
I
four.
read, so I won't spoil it, but
Okay,
I read
don't,
the
because I don't
manga
remember. Okay.
and it bombed
No.
completely. Like worst ending of any manga or
No.
anime.
Why
Like
do we do
like
that?
3 chapters before it, people were like, "This is going to be amazing," and he
No.
bombed it. He bombed
That's the
so
thing.
bad that he
Oh,
actually rewrote it.
what?
He redid the ending
Oh
and
shit. That's
bombed
bad.
again. He made it
No.
worse. It's
Oh
like, dude,
no.
you just undermined the
Oh
entire,
no.
like, yeah, like
That
it,
that happened with Game of Thrones though.
it people were calling it like people were calling it the anime Game of Thrones or worse than Game of Thrones. It was that bad. Like
Wow.
that was the comparison. They hurt. They
Oh
ruined Danny.
no.
They
I
ruined
probably
Danny.
I probably won't even watch it then, because when did this come out?
It came out. I think it ended like May last year.
Okay, then I don't think I've watched it.
No, it's
So
just
I
manga.
just
It's
won't.
only in the manga.
Only the manga, yeah, because I don't read mangas.
And they
So
might they might change it for the anime, which they
shit.
should.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I liked that series because it was such a dire situation for
yeah,
those characters. Like
mm,
real bad. That's
really
just a real
bad.
bad situation all around. Like
Uh,
it was a very interesting one, but that's a real shame. And because are you watching the new Game of Thrones show?
I want to. I'm going to actually. I might do it
Do
this
it.
week.
Do it. I
I heard it's
watched it.
good.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, there's just one episode, so like you could only do so much with that,
Yeah,
but it was definitely a good setup.
yeah.
You can tell really by the end of it, who your protagonist and
Mm,
your villain are gonna be. I thought some of the things were a little too graphic. Like
interesting.
they cut off like some guy's thing. I don't want to know
Wow.
we're on YouTube, but they cut it off. They cut it off
They just
and just cut it right off.
wow.
And weird. So I just unnecessary graphic stuff.
We're gonna
Like
go
I'm all and
hardcore. They're gonna love this. We're going quality.
and I'm like, I don't get disturbed by that kind of thing. I can watch
I can
anything and
imagine.
just be like,
Yeah.
cool. Like I'm not
Uh,
a princess at all. I may look it, but I'm not. And I like gore and blood and all of it. Gore, blood, sex, I'm cool with it. But
we make
I
that
just
like
like
your
don't,
author quote.
yeah.
I look like a princess.
But like I don't need to see that.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I draw the line at cutting off that sort of thing. But whatever. But yeah, I think it'll be good. It's set up fairly well. And the
Okay.
pacing was it was fine. It wasn't groundbreaking or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I hate the show because what they did in the original Game of Thrones with Daenerys' character still to this
She
day
was
just
my
pisses me off. It makes no sense because like her whole thing was that she wasn't like the other Targaryens, that she
yeah.
was different. And then like why in all hell would you like make her go psycho and be just like them? Why? Why?
I
It
even
literally
I okay. I think they could have even redeemed her after that.
sure.
Like, you know what? If okay,
Do something.
let's say that was their message, and that like, and especially they'd foreshadowed it a little bit, and
Yeah,
like forced.
oh shit.
I know it's crazy foreshadowing, but like foreshadowed, hey, she actually is a little psycho, and then she does that. That could be really good,
Yeah, I
but
can see that. If they brought her back and she like learned her lesson or whatever, I don't
or
know.
or just not kill her off after it.
I
Like
just
whenever she
that's
like
stupid.
was the person, she won. I was like, okay, it's a little out there, but this still works. But then when Jon Snow killed her, I was like, really, really, that's how we're doing this? You
And
just
why
turned
they
like great female hero, villain, dead, just
did.
character out the window.
So stupid. Just so dumb. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
What do you think
And
is
they
the
did
secret to making good anti-heroes like that? Like take your Aaron Yeagers and your Daenerys. What is because they're very alike. What is kind of the secret, do you think, to making good relatable hero villains like that?
um that's a good question. I think it's that is such a good question. The relatability, I know that was in your question,
Mm-hmm.
but like having the struggle be there, but also a human aspect to them. Like
Yeah.
they need to have something about them that really humanizes them and gets the audience to say, okay, like if that happened to me, I'd probably be the exact same way.
Yeah.
Like let's say you have an anti-hero who when they were 5 watched their parents be slaughtered and it,
Mm,
messed them up and then now they're the villain. Like what would you have done if you had to witness that? And I think that's why people love these characters so much.
yeah.
And a lot of it is the shadow, right? Like every human being has a shadow, but we can't embrace it socially. We can't because it's not socially acceptable. But the
Mm,
thing about villains and anti-heroes is they get to embrace their shadows and
they
they just straight
integrate.
up don't give a fuck. And a lot of people like that. They like, that unabashed or
Mm,
that ability to just be like, I'm gonna just do what I want to do, and I don't care what anybody says or what the
yeah.
consequences are. I'm just gonna do it.
Have you read
So
Carl Jung?
no, never heard
Oh,
of him.
he that the shadow was his thing.
Oh, okay,
Him and
that's interesting.
Freud, and I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. But like he started that. Oh, you just said that. Like, wow, I don't hear people talk about that very often.
I told you I've done my due diligence and a lot of this
Dang,
stuff. But
that's awesome.
it's true though, and writing is all psychology.
It
It's
really is. Like the
yeah.
more you spend reading some of that deep literature like that, the better your story is gonna be. And it's
Oh
like the
yeah, you
small details that really bring it to life.
yeah, you have to read. You just have to read as much as you can.
So what would you say are like if somebody's wanting to self-publish, or let's go back, if they're just wanting to write their book, how do you write a quality story? Like if you had 3 tips for someone.
Learn story structure, number one. What I like to do, and anyone could do it their own way, but I like to take the 3 act structure, save the
Hmm.
cat, and bring them together.
And
That's
okay.
just what I do. And I'll actually, at some point, I actually have it's finished. I don't know why I haven't released it yet. I don't know what's going on with me, but I have like a whole like workbook that walks people through the whole thing, and it's character based, not plot based, so you build your plot from your character. So it's a very like special thing that I've created.
Whoa. You should
um
send me that. That's like pretty awesome. As somebody who
Yeah,
read
yeah.
Save the Cat and all these books, like that's pretty smart.
Yeah, I think it's really smart. I just don't know why I haven't released it yet. I guess I don't know. But anyway, so that and write just I'd say write your first draft and don't be afraid or like get down on the dumps if you have to rewrite it. I think
Mhm.
like a lot of people like they're like, "Oh my God, I finished my first book. This is amazing." And then it's like really a bummer if you're like, "Oh God, it kind of sucks. I might need to rewrite it." But like if I hadn't rewritten my book twice,
Mhm.
3 times, Jesus, it like wouldn't be what it is though, because like that first draft was so bad,
Mhm.
there was no fixing it,
Yeah.
and it kind of got me into this like this I don't even know if you can call it like a zone or it got me into writing books. And so
Mhm.
it's like, okay, I can write a book from beginning to end. Cool. I can do that again. Cool. I can do that again. And so like that
Yeah.
prepares you for being a writer and it kind of just gets you into the zone of, this is what you do. And then you start, doing subsequent drafts.
Mhm.
Um, and so just doing that I think is good and like reading a lot of like books on uh just just reading craft books. I know that's kind of the same as number one, but there's a lot more to writing than that. Like there's theme
Mhm.
and there's like sentences and prose and there's character arcs and there's all the different types of like plots in fiction. There's like 8 or 9 plots in all of fiction or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
like learning those and just really educating yourself and about that in the market in your genre and reading a ton and just learning and educating yourself is the best way to just do it right and do it right. It's not like you don't know how to do this. The information is all there.
Yeah.
Do what the people have done that have done it right,
It's like if all
whichever
these
path.
books did this and they all
Yeah.
succeeded, maybe you shouldn't, before you try to break the mold, try to fit the mold.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm a person who is very creative, who
Mhm.
I want to be unique and I want to stand out. And I do, but I do it within the box that works.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
don't know.
I
People
mean,
fight that, I guess.
stay in the box. You want to think outside the box? Get in the box.
Get in the box. Just get in the box. Do what works. It's just it. And I think I heard that advice. I don't know
That's
who
good
or
advice.
when, because I've consumed so much advice and stuff on this.
Hmm.
I couldn't even tell you who gave me that advice, but it was that. Just do what works, follow what other people do.
Yeah.
And it's all there and a lot of it does come down to like luck too though and
Yeah.
like you can't luck on getting that right agent or luck on getting that editor
King
you
Sanderson's
know
editor.
it just and believing in yourself. I want to add that as like a fourth one because I've never seen such self-deprecation as I do in this community. Like it's
Yeah.
really bad. And like I went to school for hair and makeup and nobody there says I'm such a bad hairstylist. Like everybody hates my work. Like nobody says that.
Yeah.
But in the writing community specifically, everybody is
Hmm.
so down on themselves about it. My writing sucks. I'll never succeed. Only 1% of writers, actually do good, or only
I
this
hate
percent of
those
people get a
posts.
book deal.
Yeah.
Stop. Stop. You need to believe in yourself. Like you need to say like, no, I'm going to succeed. This book's going to blow up. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to be the next
Hmm.
Brandon Sanderson. And I've been saying that forever. I said it earlier in this whole thing. Like it's my destiny. This is going to work. Like I'm
Yeah.
just speaking it and I believe it. And if it's not this book, it'll be the next one. If it's not the next one, it'll be the
Exactly.
next one.
You're not
Like,
going to get worse. It's like you're
no,
only going uphill.
Exactly, exactly. And it's okay to not be perfect, but you have to really work on that mental diet. And
Mhm.
a lot of my writing advice surrounds this exact thing. And that's what differs between me and a lot of other people that do
Yeah.
writing advice stuff,
Mhm.
is that I really try to help people with their mindset.
Okay.
Um, because it's one of the most important things, you know. If you think that you suck and you're gonna fail, like,
It's like
really,
a self-fulfilling prophecy. I hate to say it, but it kind of is.
it is. And if you look at people, like, you see it a lot on TikTok, because I
Yeah.
think with TikTok you can see the way it plays out is different than other social
Mhm.
medias, but there are authors on there who just constantly say, nobody likes my book, nobody reads my book, I get no views, blah blah blah. And that's how it is for them.
That's not going to get you more views saying that. Or that's
No,
not going to sell you more copies saying that stuff.
no. Who's gonna want to buy a book when you constantly say nobody wants to buy your book? No, it's like the not good strategy for me, you know? Like,
Mhm.
even if, like, I mean, do you know who Alex Astor is?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So she's a girl,
Yeah, I've heard of that.
she got one of her videos went viral about, you know, a book that she hadn't written yet, or it was maybe somewhat written, and it got her a book deal. A TikTok video got her a
Oh
six-figure
my god.
trad book deal. And so for the last year, she's been hyping this book up. She has almost a
Yeah.
million followers.
Oh my gosh.
And then her ARC copies came out, and people were saying that this book is trash. Trash. That the plot sucks, the writing's weird, it's very juvenile, and the things
Oh
that she
crap.
said in her TikTok videos aren't actually in the book. And
Oh no.
but and then what had happened is that people started getting pissed off at her, because I guess she got a movie deal too before the book came out.
That's
Before,
awesome.
yeah, and before all these negative reviews started happening. So I think people were kind of jealous of her. And then
Yeah.
so once the negative reviews started, people started just picking her apart and being very, very cruel to her. They went on Goodreads and started one-starring her book in mass
Before it even came out.
before it even came out. Yeah, there were ARC copies and it was on NetGalley, but still a lot of those one-star reviews were fake,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
They never
her
read
book
it.
her book came out the other day and sold out Barnes and Noble. It sold
Yeah.
out, just massively
That's
sold
good
out. And she,
publicity. I mean, honestly.
yeah, she basically said a big F you to
Yeah.
everybody. And I had a point to
That's
this, and
so cool.
it went out of my mind. But like, she, you know, she's just, you know, taking it and running with it, and
She didn't give up
making,
despite all that. She didn't
yeah,
like crumble under probably the mountain of criticism that was crashing down on her. Like a lot of people, and I've actually seen this happen, is like something would happen, they'd get a bunch of really bad publicity before their book came out, and they just pull it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
instead, actually just going into it and
yeah,
just saying, all right, I'll prove you guys wrong.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
exactly.
amazing. That'd be such a
Yes.
cool turnaround. Can you imagine going from like super hyped up book, people thinking it's absolute trash, and then having it actually be good when it comes out?
Yeah, the reviews still say it pretty much sucks, though.
But she
That's
made
the
millions of dollars, so who
She did.
cares?
Yeah. 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 They bought it though. And I think some people bought it because they wanted to see, like, is this
Yeah,
really the train wreck that
that's
everyone is saying it
exactly
is?
it. It's like, how bad is this? I got to see for myself so I can make a
Yeah.
TikTok video about it.
I mean, whatever. So I think if they do the film will probably be better than the book, from what I've heard.
So
But
yeah,
the point is that, like, she she's still, like, stuck to her guns, and I don't think she deserved what she got. I don't think she
yeah.
committed some awful crime, and I just
It's
don't think
not
it was
trying to be a bad
fair.
writer.
No, and like, yes, everyone, I think a lot of people were just jealous of her,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Like, I want a major book deal, and I want a
right.
movie.
You're
Like,
close.
yeah, yeah, and I don't know if, like, let's say, the book does good and Trad Pub wants to take it. I don't know if I want to do it. That's the thing.
No,
Like,
you would turn down that six-figure contract because
I'd keep turning it down until they give me an offer I wouldn't refuse. But like what's happening to a lot of indie authors on TikTok is they're getting their foreign rights bought up by
Oh
TradPub.
no.
No, but that's great
Mm,
though, because like they have a series already done,
yeah.
and TradPub in like England or wherever, they're getting a big deal over there, but they still get to keep their rights here.
So okay, can I
It's
tell you
changed
something? And this
actually.
hasn't came out. I actually just had an interview with Mark Gottlieb, Trident literary agent,
Okay.
last week.
Okay.
And that's a big issue. That's a
What do you mean?
problem.
What do you mean? Tell me.
So what's happening is that, yeah, they're going after the foreign rights. And so what
Yeah.
normally would happen is that, okay, I sell my book to a publisher in America. I get an
Okay.
advance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I take my book, I sell it to a publisher in, say, England.
Yeah.
I get a big advance.
Yeah.
But instead, publisher in America takes my foreign rights. I get now a very small royalty, and I can't get that signing bonus.
Yeah.
So what's happening is that, well, I mean, for example, you might get a little bit of a royalty, but instead of like another six-figure bonus.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, but they're like starting. He actually said it was collusion. He literally, yeah,
Between
he
who?
said that this never happened before. Like they just didn't do that because that was always
Interesting.
a part of the author's salary. That was part of
Yeah.
their living. It's another six-figure deal or tens of thousands of dollars. And he said then suddenly, literally like in a month or even less, all the publishing houses were like, "Oh no, now we have to have your foreign rights."
So
So
they just snatch them up in the initial deal.
yeah, that's what they're doing. They're saying, "Hey, here's the check. Oh, but we own the rights to foreign."
Yeah. And it's just like, God forbid, just allow your authors to
Right?
make a living.
Yeah.
Because authors get paid so crap so badly anyway. And it's just, again, another reason,
Mhm.
that indie is taking off so
Yeah.
well is because what these indie authors are doing, kind of like you said, they own it all. And so they're keeping their US rights, but they're
Yeah.
getting that other big check for the foreign
Uh-huh.
rights.
That's
And
smart.
it's very smart. And two, it's just a good way to like have kind of the best of both worlds and keep your control,
Mhm.
but like also like hand it over and get that like big publisher money that
You're
like.
the best of both worlds.
Yeah, yeah. So I would be definitely open to that. I don't know, like now, with TradPub, because like with my books, like all of my books are gonna have like this very specific message to
Yeah.
it, and it's kind of hard to describe what that is, but it's
Mhm.
very personal to me, and
That's
I
awesome.
I want that to be there. I don't want it to be
Yeah.
whitewashed through TradPub, you know?
Yeah. It has to be your story still.
Mm-hmm.
I
So yeah. It'd have
oh
to
my
be a lot
gosh,
of
it
money to get me to,
has to be a lot.
yeah.
On the topic of mindset, did you ever hear the story of Stephen King and how he got Carrie? His experience with that?
I don't think so.
He threw it in the trash.
Oh
He thought,
no.
yeah, no, he hated it. He wrote it
Uh-huh.
and then was like, "This is just really bad. Nobody's ever gonna want to read this." And he
Interesting.
literally he trashed it, and
Hmm.
his wife dug it out of the trash
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
read it, and then came to him and was like, "Hey, this is actually pretty good. You might want to actually give this a shot." And then he, got a six-figure book deal off it in like the 70s, which is crazy back then.
Yeah. Oh
When
yeah.
gas was like $2.
Yeah.
Um,
Wish.
but it's like you don't know if your
Yeah.
story is going to be the next Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's in a bad light nowadays. But you just you
Yeah.
just
She's
you just
crazy.
don't know.
No, and that's kind of like the beauty and maybe the curse of all of it is that, it really is up to luck, and you have to just give yourself the best shot and believe in
Yeah.
yourself, and it it's kind of interesting because like what do you think about, because one of the things with Alec Astor, that girl I told you about, people were mad at her because she had privilege, I guess they said, and that
Oh.
her sister's like a millionaire or whatever,
Uh,
and that she was able to live with her family and write her book or
yeah.
whatever, and they don't think she worked hard enough on it. but I feel like that's a really dangerous because like,
Yeah.
someone could, you know, take what a person does, and just because they're not like living in rags and squalor doesn't mean they're not working hard.
Yeah.
Like there are things that do make it easier and then therefore make success easier.
Mhm.
But like, I don't know. I just don't think we should be trashing people for, having the means to write and then writing.
And like,
I
I
don't know.
mean, it happens from everyone. You see people who come from, rigs rags. I just almost completely mumbled that to rags,
Like
and they
seriously.
write a great book and it gets them out. You see rich
Yeah.
people try it and bomb all the
And
time.
bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, J.K. Rowling was on welfare
Yeah.
when she wrote Harry Potter, for God's sake.
Yeah. Literally writing it on napkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like you don't know how hard they worked on that book. Yeah, I mean,
No.
honestly, writing is hard. I don't care how rich you are. It's like, yeah, I'm sure you have some, things going for you that others wouldn't, but you didn't have control over that. It's like
No. And
nobody controls their privilege.
yeah, yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. And that's the thing with like book talk is that people want to just be offended, I think, for the sake
Yeah.
of being offended. And
I
that's just, yeah.
I actually went on a date with a girl who thought that there should be no more white authors, or
Oh my
specifically white
gosh.
male. Great dinner conversation, by the way, as a white
Awkward.
male author. Um
Yeah.
and I'm just
Awkward.
thinking to myself, like, really, we just shouldn't let an entire group of people write books, huh? That's gonna make the world better.
Yeah,
And
that's not fair. I mean, I think we definitely need the representation needs to be better for people of
Mhm.
color and all of that. It really does. They really get the short end of the stick. But like on the same hand, like I want to be included too. And I know they would say, well, you are included. So, and it's tough. Like, in
Yeah.
my book, I tried to really be as exclusive as I could, and
Mhm.
not, write a white cast. But
Yeah.
like, it's a very fine line between, writing, people of color and LGBTQ people and doing it right and doing it justice and doing your best. And I talked to several people about it when I was writing, and I did my best, but
Mhm.
it's something, I get scared of if someone gets offended by the representation that I did. Like, what if I did it wrong? What if I messed up? What if I said something I shouldn't have?
Mhm.
And it's like really scary.
Well, and okay, that's actually something I've thought about quite a lot because, like, you know, you don't know what it's like to have some of those experiences. Like,
Mhm.
well, I mean, as a white male, I feel like
Right.
if I decided to write a story about the life of black female woman, um, I would do it probably a pretty bad job. I mean, if I, talked to a lot of them and really spent a lot of time doing research, yeah, I might do better, but it's like I don't have that perspective. Um,
Exactly.
or trying to a
Exactly.
straight person trying to write what it's like to be a gay person. It's like, one, I just don't have it, and
Yeah.
two, if I do it wrong, they're gonna think, one, it's gonna offend them, or they'll think, oh, you're just doing this to try and get our attention, sell copies. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
what I've seen that happen to a lot of people. That happened in the new season of Stranger Things. Do you watch that
Yeah.
show? They
No, I need to though.
Oh
I
god.
hear it's amazing.
Well, but they just randomly turned one of the main characters gay.
Oh,
Had zero
okay.
relevance to the story.
Just so
Just,
naughty.
you're gay now.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, and the gay community was like,
Why?
why are you doing this? And
Yeah. In there again, it's a fine line between being exclusive or
yeah,
like, why does this need to be there? And for all I will always write a main character in my race,
yeah,
because like you said, like
it's
I
what
don't
you
know what it's
know.
like
It's
to
who you
be a
are.
black man, and who are we to tell those stories anyway?
Exactly.
So I think that shouldn't be done, but like there should be some representation, I think,
Hmm.
in the side characters. And what I found is basically like not making these characters their race, just making them normal characters with
Yeah.
normal issues and desires and fears and
Hmm.
whatever. Like
Just
that's
making
just
them normal people.
yes, and that's what I did. And, I just, I still worry though.
Have you ever heard of the Vampire Chronicles? Interview with a
Um,
Vampire?
maybe, but my phone is about to
Oh,
die, so I
are
need
you
to
on your
get my
phone?
charger.
Oh,
So
okay.
just it's gonna like go in like a minute. So hold on
Oh,
a second. I thought I had enough battery life, but
I have to make sure to leave that in the video. You frantically running across the room.
yeah, cut that out.
But what
I'm
I
gonna
was
have
gonna,
to hold it because it's not gonna stay, but I can hold it. So what was it called again?
oh, it's the
Vampire what?
Vampire Chronicles, Interview with the Vampire, Tom Cruise.
I know of it, but I've actually never watched it. I saw that
Okay.
they're making like another one or something
Oh
with
gosh, yeah,
like
and
a
it's gonna be terrible.
yeah, yeah,
But he's a gay character, but like he's also a person. Like his
yeah,
entire character isn't about him being gay. He's gay and a really good character.
yes,
And
yes,
it's
and that's
like it's hard to do both, it seems like in today's modern books. It's like,
yeah,
okay, they're gay. That's now the story. That's the book.
yeah,
It's like, they
yeah,
are people too. Like
yeah, exactly. And I think that's like the big point that it
Mhm.
it just doesn't need to be about their like gay story or black story. It
Yeah.
needs to be about their human story.
I feel like that's
'Cause
one of the
you
things people poke at whenever they take a superhero and they make them like black or some other race. It's like,
right?
really, you can't just make a quality hero, a new one of our race? Like, you can't just take the time and write a new hero or do something?
Yeah.
It's like as bad as how Dumbledore is gay and Hermione's black, according to J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Really? Really? You got the covers quite wrong then, didn't you? I
Hermione
don't
was supposed to be black.
she's black apparently in the books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is a J.K. Rowling, yeah, belief.
I
Or,
I have never heard that one. I heard the one about Dumbledore, but interesting. I've never heard the
yeah,
Hermione one.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah, it's pretty bad. It's like, man, maybe you should just run some of these tweets past people before you put that out.
Yeah, she's really been shooting herself in the foot lately with the weird stuff she's been saying. I don't understand.
I feel like the worst thing an author can do is become political.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You
man, you're
know,
gonna alienate half your audience, and it's like, do you have to do that?
yeah, like I'll talk about it if I feel like it's really important, but
Yeah,
generally like that's just I, I'm here to write and sell my books. So, but like there is a political party that likely won't like my book anyway.
you know
Still
what, putting
not
it
the
out.
point. Yeah, it just wouldn't be for them. But yeah, it's tough. You have to very as like an author and like a public figure, you have to
Yeah.
really like be careful
It's like
all
what
the
I mean,
time.
because I think it's good. I think it's good to stand up for causes. Like
Yeah,
certain things, use your
absolutely.
platform to help something.
Yeah,
But it's like that, and then just telling people your politics. There's a thin line there.
there is. And like I said earlier, like it has to be a hill that you want to die on because you're
Yes.
likely going to get pushback from it. And so it better be something you're willing to fight for.
You can't just
And
be doing it for attention.
yeah, and it just and then and there's a lot of people like authors on TikTok that are just constantly like talking about this drama and that, and it's like you're an author, like
Right?
stop it, like every single drama that comes up or every single thing, like, and that the successful authors that are making money aren't doing that.
Yeah, they steer clear away from all that. It's like, I don't want to offend half my audience and lose half my revenue.
Yeah, and all these dramas have two camps to them
Yeah.
constantly. And that story I told you about, where the people were just being so ridiculous about what I said and,
Yeah.
taking everything out of context. It was really an eye opener
Hmm.
about that whole thing. And like, you have to just keep your mouth shut.
It's like you don't like if you say one thing wrong, it might go viral against you.
Yeah, yeah. And cancel culture is a real thing and it's
It's
really
legit.
scary. There was another girl on TikTok, her name was Brandy, and this one was a lot more deserved than the Alex Astor thing, but she was an indie author. She wrote like her book was like a dark romance
Hmm?
fantasy thing. And I guess it had a lot of really bad representation of like what we were talking about of like gays
Okay.
and trans people and people that have a specific mental health disorder
Oh.
like split personality or
Oh, schizo.
multiple
Yeah.
personality, and she did it really really badly. And so again, same thing, kind of her video went viral, she got really popular,
Mhm.
her book was super hyped, everybody was like super excited about it, and then it comes out and it has all this harmful stuff in it. And so apparently she said, okay, I get it, but then did things like she said she would edit the book and reprint it, but then she was giving out like first editions of the first edition. Like
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, look, get your first edition here. It's still here." And I don't know, and
No.
but they like canceled the shit out of her.
Wow.
And again, like a little more deserved,
A little
probably
more deserved.
not necessary. I think she's just a regular white girl who just didn't get it. I think the thing about like what people don't get is I don't think people are doing this maliciously. I think they're just uneducated.
Exactly. It's like
And
in most of
that's
them, like
different.
okay, let's say that happened and people were like, yo, this is really bad. Like some of the stuff in this book is like offensive. And she
Yeah,
would have just been like, oh my gosh, holy crap. And actually changed it and like
yeah.
listened and tried to make an effort. People probably would have been forgiving of that.
They probably would
Well,
have, and
except the
she didn't
crazies.
do that. Yeah.
No, but like trying to ignore it and just say, well, hey guys, first editions.
Yeah.
Probably gonna go
Yeah.
over bad. How do you feel
Yeah.
about cancel culture?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's
Yeah,
way too harsh. I think, like I said earlier, people get offended just they just want to be offended and they
they just
take the
want to.
stupidest stuff and
Mm,
make a big deal out of it. And I
yeah,
think a lot of it has to do with what people don't look at is someone being malicious or just stupid.
yeah.
And to me, those are completely different things. I
Anyone can be
can give
stupid.
Right. Like, well, I can give leeway to someone who is just like didn't know or didn't
Mm,
take the right time to educate themselves versus someone who's like really trying to hurt people.
yeah,
Those are two different camps. And you shouldn't ruin someone's whole career
yeah.
because they wrote something wrong or, like if it's a pattern, okay, fine.
That's
But
different.
yeah, I just feel like there's more nuance to it,
Mm,
and people are just so quick to jump on stuff they don't understand or they heard from
yeah,
somebody who heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody, and it's just I don't know. Like, because in my situation, people got upset over something I never even said.
yeah.
And
They're just
so,
all out of context clips.
yeah, exactly. And I never once said that because you can't afford an editor, you shouldn't publish. I've never
Yeah.
said that. And they said that I said it. And, you know, and it's funny because I've spent years uplifting writers and
Mm,
helping writers, and none of that mattered.
they
It,
ignore all that.
they just said, who cares? Goodbye. You're going to take one 30-second clip of me and make it crazy and,
Yeah,
twist it into something ridiculous. But who cares about the years that I've spent genuinely helping people, all for free,
yeah.
mind you. I've never made one penny on what I've done.
You're just trying to help
And
the community.
yeah, and I don't know. So I think that cancel culture is out of hand
Hmm.
and people need to just take a breath and stop being so offended. And
Mhm.
if it's warranted, fine. And I can't tell people how to feel, of course. But I just, like, I think it's just too harsh.
Mhm. I read like Jordan Peterson. He's everyone knows who Jordan Peterson is.
I don't
Um,
know.
you know who Jordan Peterson is?
No.
Oh wow. Okay, that's your homework. Go look up who he is. He's a psychologist, and I won't say he got canceled, but I was gonna go see him in Seattle, and they protested. Um, Ironically, he's like a liberal Canadian teacher, but like people say he's right wing, and if you read his books, he's really not. But one of the issues he said of cancel culture, it's like, in society, if you make a mistake, usually you pay a penalty, you do something to make it right, and you're accepted back into society, right? It's like
Sure.
if you steal something, you might pay a fine or go do some community service, whatever. Then you're back in society. It's a clean slate usually.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible things aside.
Right. Yeah.
But with cancel culture, it's like there's no coming back from that. Like in a lot of cases, you can ease it, if you just really accept it and just say, yeah, and I'm going to do better and, make efforts to do that. You can make it better. But
Hmm.
in a lot of cases, it's like, yeah, you're done. Career ruined. It's like, is that
Yeah.
really healthy for society? Like, is that
No.
really, did that, we tear, like, to go after somebody, something usually small, again, extremists, ignoring,
Blow it up. Yeah.
yeah, blow it up, and then especially if it's like a tweet from like 10 years ago or
Oh
just
God, I
something
hate that.
stupid. It's like,
Yeah.
really, you're
Yeah.
gonna
Something
ruin
stupid.
this person's career. Because I remember there's a comedian called Kevin Hart, and it was the same
Oh
couple of
yeah.
years ago. He made a joke about like taking a dollhouse and hitting his daughter with it. It was some
Just a
silly
joke.
joke he tweeted
Yeah.
about years ago, and people found that and like tried to cancel him. And it was this giant thing. And it's like, really? You got to come after this guy's career for a joke tweet that you knew was probably not hitting his daughter with a dollhouse? Like,
Oh God. Yeah.
it's just amazing. I don't know. It seems like people just really like being mad about things nowadays.
They do. And it's kind of, and it's like just woke outrage. And I hate to say it like that because I feel like that word is weaponized. The word
Yeah.
woke is weaponized to hurt people who are genuinely hurt by things. And there are groups of people that
Mhm.
have every right to be outraged
There
about.
are things that are legit.
Yeah. But I think we lose those legit issues when every little thing is a big thing. So
Yeah.
the issues that really matter and that are really hurting people, like
Exactly.
Indigenous women going
Mm.
missing, like that's a huge
It's a big
problem.
issue around here where we live. Like
Yeah.
actually I don't know where you live, but I'm in like I close to Tacoma in the Seattle
Okay.
area. That's a big issue. I have
Yeah.
some of my friends who are indigenous and they posted about statistics, and I'm like,
It's
holy
awful.
crap,
It's awful. And
it's really bad.
their slogan with like the red hand over the mouth, the paint
Yeah.
hand, that was taken by women who were protesting against anti-abortion. And the women were, the indigenous group was like, hey,
Uh,
just don't use that, that's for us, that's our
yeah.
thing. And then and they should, and it is theirs.
They did it
And
first. Yeah.
they did do it first and it's theirs. And because that is that's something that's a really big problem. But then it turned into like something else, and it took the conversation away from what really matters, and it's those women and girls that are disappearing and getting murdered, and it needs to
Mm-hmm.
be about that. And uh I don't know, like there's so many issues that really need the outrage and that don't have it. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like people like going in one starring Alex Astor's book when there are so many other authors that are way more problematic.
Yeah.
And okay, yeah, her family's rich. Wow, get over it. Like,
That
go
would be the
after an
worst
author
thing.
that's
Yeah.
plagiarizing or something. Like, I don't know.
Like, is
Stupid.
this really the biggest issue in the world right now? This should be the outcry. This is where
Yeah.
we should focus all of our energy.
And
All this.
a lot of people said that exact same thing. They
Mhm.
said it was ridiculous, and it is. She didn't deserve any of that at all.
It just it's amazing how just out of context or just random things. And like once it gets out there, it just because people aren't gonna research it. No,
No,
like in your case, I highly doubt people went, I should go see her content and see if this is legit and if she's actually like this. It's like, no,
no.
you're just gonna comment mean things and share it and probably do mean
Yeah,
videos about it because it'll get you
they
more views and likes and you'll be trending.
some guy called in that instance, he ended up calling me a racist. I swear to God, because he said you're a racist because you're so privileged and you know that black people don't have that privilege and that makes you a racist. And he told me to shut the F up and effing apologize. And it was psychotic. And I
So
took the video
bad.
down because it was psychotic. I'm like,
That
you're crazy. You are crazy because they kept telling me that this guy specifically, he's like, well, you need to apologize and blah, blah, blah. And I said, no,
yeah.
because I didn't say it.
This,
I'm not going to go and ponder to you because I didn't say what you're saying that I
mhm.
said. If I said it and I messed up, 1,000,000,000%
Yeah.
I will own it. But I didn't say that. I
Those
just
are
said, I
not my
think you
words.
yeah, I just said I think you should have an editor. That was it. Like that's all I was saying. And
Literally nothing about race in that comment.
no, no, and that's where it gets out of hand is that people just I think a lot of it is their own shit and their
Yeah.
own trauma and their own stuff.
They're
But the
projecting.
yes, projecting, but it just takes on a life of its own and
Mhm.
becomes a monster. And
Yeah.
that's just scary, as an author because like anyone could get offended by anything I have in the book. And I actually had to put trigger warnings on it. Have you
Really?
done that whole there's like another whole debate on TikTok. I swear it's TikTok that's like getting in my head. So there was this gal and she was a reader, not a writer, and she felt very passionate about trigger warnings and
Mhm.
how that, like a movie, like there should be warnings
Yeah.
on a book.
Yeah.
And then there's another camp that said, well, one, it spoils it. Two, why should an author have to micromanage
Yeah.
a reader's triggers? And three,
Mhm.
you can't come up with a trigger that will fit everyone because people get triggered by
True.
pizza, people get triggered by puppies, people get triggered by anything. Like
Yeah.
you cannot write a list long enough.
How do you write a horror book and have trigger warnings?
Exactly. And so, but there is just I think book talk has just become way too out there with this stuff. Um and so some people just straight up won't read a book unless there's trigger warnings on it. And so I made a compromise and just put it on my website
You did it. Yeah.
and just did it because it's a YA book, so it's not like
Okay.
there's stuff in there. But like if you pick up a dark romance that's mafia based, like you can make
Yeah.
the jump that there's going to be some dark shit in there.
Mhm.
I just think that's obvious, and you shouldn't ruin an author's career because they didn't write trigger warnings because you get triggered by
Yeah.
something. Stop
And
reading
that's
it
it's like
then. I
really so
just
the author have to pander to you to what might offend you and everyone
yeah,
else. It's like so we have to
yeah.
censor ourselves? That's
Yeah, and it's just like that's why I'm not in trad pub. Like I just want to be able to write what I want to write.
yeah.
Like but of course I don't want to hurt people and I don't want to like put anyone into a psychotic
Mhm.
episode and I don't say that as like a mean thing. Like I don't
It's a
want to
legit thing. Yeah.
I don't want to trigger anyone's PTSD. I have PTSD. I don't want to do that to anybody. And that's why
Mhm.
I ended up doing the trigger warnings because I do reference, a lot of serious topics in
Mhm.
my book. Um,
That's part of
it,
what you do in writing, though. That's
yeah,
literally what the medium is about. Talking about
yeah,
serious topics in sometimes kind of indirect ways.
yeah,
It's
yeah. And
literally
I think it's
seam.
important. Yeah, yeah. So it's again another thing about this whole cancel culture thing that's
Mhm.
just it's gone out of control.
Yeah.
And I don't know like what that says about our society, like I think that it's more a symptom of that like people are just they have a lot of grievances about other
Yeah.
things and that they can't control, and
Hmm.
they can control this. They can take down that small
Exactly.
author on TikTok.
Hmm.
Like they can go and one star a book they've never touched in their life. Like they can control that, but like bigger things that really
Yeah.
affect them, like the price of gas or
Hmm.
the lack of healthcare, they're powerless against.
Or
I think
like,
it
I
really
see
comes
this in
down to
like race, for example, like, they can't cure racism, but they can think, okay, if I take down this TikToker or author who might be racist, even though probably didn't do much, but she's being called a racist,
yeah.
I'm making the world better.
Yeah.
And it's like it's I don't remember, there's a special term for this, but it's like they're trying to be part of the solution by creating a problem they can fix.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I don't think that helps anybody, because
No.
then you create more hate and more anger in society in general. Every person this happens to, it creates more bitterness and more pain, and then they go and now they're hurting, and it just doesn't help. And yes, we want our social justice warriors. We want the
Yeah.
people to fight the good
Yeah.
fight when there is real injustice,
There's a real injustice.
but a lot of these things are not real injustice.
Hmm. And I feel
Just not.
like by blowing up about everything, you kind of desensitize people to it.
Yes, yes. And that goes back to what I said about the real issues
Hmm.
not getting the attention that they need, because everything is an issue.
Like if you blow
Stupid.
up something every single week for a year, like are people really caring a couple
Yeah.
months down the line, or this, oh, TikTok's mad at somebody again?
Yeah. And that's how it is. And people are just exhausted by it. They're
Yeah.
exhausted by the drama of every person, there's something
There's always
every
some
day.
issue. It's like
Yeah.
people just don't have that much energy to care.
I know, and
Like,
I don't care. And that's the thing, like I'm on the internet, and it would take something very, very severe to piss me off.
yeah,
Like to piss me off to the point where I'm gonna make it my mission to bring somebody down.
right?
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
be a piece
ruin
of
this
shit.
career.
Like you're gonna really piss me off. But like I just don't get offended easily. And maybe people can say that, well, you're just a middle class white woman, you don't have big things to be offended about. And okay, I can see that. And I'm not a marginalized group. And but I do have, I've had a extremely crazy life that you would
Hmm.
never know by looking at me. And so I feel
You
like
never know that.
you would never know.
You
And
can't just
people,
look at somebody and judge that.
right, exactly. And and even so, I'm not, I'm not offended by it, because it takes too much energy for me to be
Hmm.
offended. I want to put my energy where it matters, on, writing my book, helping
Yeah.
writers, and doing what I love. And I think more people need to get centered with themselves, and, just control what they can, and, fight for what they believe in, but like
Hmm.
do it smart. Like if you want to make change, be smart about it.
Actually, choose something that actually matters and that's real. And
Yeah.
it seems like whenever there is something big, who was, oh gosh, it was summer or two ago. The cop who stood on the dude's neck.
Yeah,
I should know
George
the name
Floyd.
of it. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a serious issue.
Oh
And I
yeah.
don't care what political party you are. I saw outrage on every single side. And
Yeah,
like
as it should be.
that
It's
was a
fucked up.
legit issue.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like serious things like that. I feel like if you just burn people out on non-issues, whenever something really serious comes up like that, where everyone's like, whoa, you won't have the same response. Although that did, of course, have a very big response. But
Yeah,
it's
thank
just like
goodness.
you can't, you need to be able to focus where it matters.
Exactly.
Have
And
you ever read the book? I just listened to it on audiobook of The Simple Art of Not Giving an F word, so I don't get taken
yeah,
down
I've
by
I've
YouTube.
wanted to. I've
It's
really
really
wanted to.
good. You like that. It's
I
about like, kind of saying to yourself, I shouldn't put the energy towards this.
yeah,
Like it's like
absolutely.
trying to be in a positive mindset and just saying it's it is what it is, kind of. Like you don't
Hmm.
have to, stress about every little thing. And there
Yeah.
was a certain thing that book where I was like, man, that's pretty smart.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just, like it just brings your whole vibe and your energy down too, and
Mm.
it's just not worth it.
Something I've thought about, like being a writer. It's like, let's say you just gave up tomorrow and said, I'm never going to write another word ever again. It's like, the stories never go away. It's still
No.
in your head. It's like, you can't turn that off. That's always a part of you, which is kind of a funny thing to think about. So it's like, why not write your story? It's like, maybe you do fail. It's like, if you don't write it, it's going to have the same outcome. It's like, you can only increase the probability of success.
Yeah, exactly. And I see so many people not write
Mm-hmm.
because of that fear.
Yeah.
Like,
Fear of
and
failure always gets you.
yeah, well, and when I sent out my ARC readers, somebody got back to me like in 2 days, and I think it was a scam,
Two
because
days.
I haven't had anyone else mention it, and I went through the book, and so they basically claimed that they were an editor and that they loved my book so much. They said my main character was their favorite main character of all time, which I thought was weird.
Mm. Mm.
Um, but he said, but my editors failed me and then I got scammed, is
They
literally
said
what
that
he
to
said.
you?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, because they first asked how much I paid for Brandon Sanderson's editor. That was their first question. And so I thought that
Brandon
was
Sanderson.
strange. And I didn't answer them. And then so then they
That's
said
weird.
that, and then he gave an example of an adjective I used, which was a little silly, I guess, but
Can you
the
say it?
sentence
Can you
was,
can you say what the adjective was?
yeah, I used the word fiery to describe a fire, which I guess is a little silly,
But
okay? But it's a
that
little
works sometimes.
silly,
That does work sometimes, so
but it wasn't like you
it's a
couldn't get
minor.
the image or it was
Yeah,
confusing. And this wasn't the final copy, and I said that in the thing. And so no, it wasn't egregious, but I mean it was silly, I think, but he
whatever.
basically said it was so bad he couldn't read it. What his point was
Really?
is that he couldn't even read it. And
Wow.
um I was like,
Wow.
oh, okay. And so and this was my first feedback. And so I thought that I called my sister and I'm like, dude, I can't release this book because if it's this bad, then I'm, I can't do it. I can't do it. And she's like, okay, let's see what other people are saying.
Yeah.
And I've
Anyone else
gotten
brings it up.
nothing. Yeah, I've gotten nothing but glowing reviews. But here's the thing, I went online because something was bugging me about what he said. Because I said, okay, thank you. Can you give me some more examples? Guy never
Of
replied.
course.
And I went, and the site Writer Beware.
Yeah.
I went on there and there was an identical, literally to the T, about a scam going on with these so-called editors
Mm-hmm.
that are telling people they love their books, but it's edited terribly.
If they
And
reach out to you, it's almost always a scam right off the bat.
yeah, and he never asked to edit for me. He never asked for money or anything, but he basically said that he knows what he's doing. He's done this for 20 years, even though his
Ooh.
editing business only has 3 reviews and is on
Clearly
Fiverr.
he's a professional. Oh yeah, Fiverr.
Um,
That's where, the quality people go. That's where you probably got Brandon Sanderson's at.
so and in the scam was literally to the T what I got
Mm.
in my inbox. And so I think that maybe he got spooked that I asked for some
Yeah.
more like, okay, because I said give me the worst ones.
Huh?
I need to know,
Let me see
like,
it.
let me see it exactly.
Yeah.
And the errors that I found were like a comma here,
Oh.
like it should have been a period, there's a comma, stupid stuff like that. And yeah, there was a couple words that like that shouldn't have been the word that was there. Like one typo I found, it was supposed to say shitting but it said shitty. Like it was just dumb stuff like that. And I just think I think it was a scam, and nobody
Mm.
else has said anything about it. And I've gone through and fixed what I saw and what I could find. But that was the first feedback that I had gotten, and it really
Wow.
like threw me because I don't, like
You're
I've
gonna,
talked to you
yeah.
about all the things that I've done, and like,
And
like
that's the first thing you get.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, and it
that's
made
probably not a good sign from your perspective.
no, it wasn't. And I thought that I had just made a really big mistake.
Mhm.
And you know, like if this guy was being genuine and wanted to help me, he would have replied. He would
Yeah.
have been like, "Okay, this is what I see. This is where you're having issues. You have time, go fix it."
Yeah.
But he just never got back to me. I just thought that was really weird. And so you know, I don't know. I genuinely don't think that there's a problem there. But there, you know, there might be people that just don't like the way that my writing is. It's a young adult book, so you know, it's not literary excellence like he said that that's what he reads is
Oh,
literary excellence or whatever. And it's not that
that's what I
like
go to whenever I think of young adult. I'm like, I want the quality literary excellence.
I mean, I'm not Jane Austen. I'm not writing that type of book. But you know, like people like will just do that. Like, and I
Yeah.
have to, my sister said, like, you have to just let people think it's bad. There's nothing you can
Mhm.
do about it, but just do your best. Um, and it was weird because it's hard. Like, is it a scam or was it true? You
Yeah.
know, like it's so hard to know, but you know, like it's gotten so much lovely feedback, and if it was unreadable, people would have been telling me by
And it's
now.
like, man, you have literally like the best editor on the market.
Yeah, and he told me that she scammed me, and I was like, she did not. Like,
Like,
stop it.
really, this
Like,
this is the scare where Brandon Sanderson got scammed. That's what.
and you know, she's the developmental editor, and two, he never even asked like if she was
Yeah.
the one that did the dev edit or the line
Mhm.
edit. So it's like
Oh,
number one there, like if you're a professional, you should have been able to distinguish
you
the
know which
difference.
one's which.
Or
Yeah.
at least ask, be like,
Mhm.
did Brandon Sanderson do the line edit or the dev edit? Because those are two different things. And you know, it's just it. I don't know. Like, I don't know what would possess somebody to say that and then just like drop off the face of the earth and not like if I don't know. And the fact that he was like, yeah, your main character is my favorite character of all time, but the book is unreadable. How
Right.
can
How does that work?
and Haney said, "Oh, yeah, the story is amazing, and the world, it's all amazing. It's so good. But if it's so unreadable, then you can't."
It's so good, except it's really bad. And I probably need
Yeah,
to hire you, right?
exactly. You could fix it. You
You
could
are
fix
my
it for
hero. You
me.
can make this from good to great. And
I think that's what it was. And I don't think it's a coincidence that on Writer Beware there was the exact scam. It
yeah,
was literally the exact verbiage and everything.
that's so
Super
bad.
weird.
Probably just preying on new writers or soon to be published authors.
Yeah, I think I was a target. I really do. And I've been debating about, you know, because this is the first time I've really told like anybody else about it who is
Mhm.
a writer, because it's embarrassing because like I don't, you know, like I don't want, you know, people to think that it's like this mess, you know,
Yeah.
and so but I think it's important to get it out there so people can be aware because I had no idea like people
Mhm.
did this kind of thing.
Yeah. They do
And
that a
they're
lot. It is
and
like
the
really sketchy out there, honestly. That's
yeah.
honestly one of the things that really makes me apprehensive of self-publishing is the overwhelming amount of scammers. It's crazy.
Incredible. Yeah. Yeah, because like I think a person that would have worked for that is someone who would have panicked and been like, "Oh my God, I gotta get," you know, and because my response to him was, "Thank you so much. Can you give me
Yeah.
some more examples?" And it was very like short, sweet, to the point, and he probably, you know, wanted somebody else who was more in a panic of like, "Oh my God, well, you
Yeah.
know, like I need who's gonna fix it for me now?" Like, or you know,
Exactly.
like indirectly, you know, ask for help in that way, and then he'd be like, "Oh, well, I actually have
Well,
an opening." Matter of fact.
I can
Um,
fit you into my schedule. You were so lucky. I just love
yeah,
your book so much.
it's just so good. He's like, "You did everything right. You did your job right. I'm mad on your behalf," is what he said.
Oh god.
But you want to help me so much, but you won't
Ask him.
reply
So
to
what
me.
books have you edited? Can you provide me some links?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so I did a deeper dive on him, and
Oh,
I got an uneasy feeling when I looked at his photo, and so that should probably tell
what
me
was it?
something. It's just an uneasy feeling,
No, I mean, like, what was
like
his photo?
just of
Like,
him.
okay, well, it wasn't like, I'm trying to think, where it's just like an adverb or some super cheesy thing, is like like when you get like an anonymous message or something, you can know the person's a scammer.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that obvious.
Okay.
No, because he seemed to be like very genuine. Like he seemed to be
Mm,
like, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but it's just, I gotta say this or whatever. And he's like, and I was
seemed
so
legit.
excited to read it, and it's just I can't keep going, and it's so beautiful and it's so great, and
I
they
can't
just
keep.
failed you.
It's
So
so beautiful, it's so amazing. I can't keep reading. It's awful, but I love your main character. But it's it's like pick a
I
lane.
exactly, pick a lane, yeah. And like if it was the case, I really think he would have been like, okay, well here's where like you're doing wrong. Here's where
Mhm.
this error is or this typo is and
Yeah,
this is reoccurring. And there, of course,
you can see that
it's my
stuff. Real editors can.
yeah, and like I never claimed that the book is going to be perfect, and I went through the whole thing, and marked it up, and and fixing what
Mhm.
I found, and that's all I can do. But they were really small, stupid things, like I said, like
Yeah,
at the end of a dialogue tag, it was supposed to be a comma and there was a period there, or this should have been capitalized and not lowercase. And that's all that I really found. Yeah, there was a couple words that shouldn't be there, and a few sentences that I had to just redo a little bit,
mhm.
but like I just didn't think it was at this egregious level, and it
Exactly.
was just weird.
1 sec, I need to go grab my computer charger before it dies. Oh, it's behind me.
Oh,
I had it the
nice.
whole time. That's great. Sorry, I'm like, oh my gosh, if my computer dies and just doesn't save, that would be my luck. That would be my luck.
No
But it,
worries.
yeah, no, it's amazing how many scammers there are out there, and it's like, really, you spend your time coercing money out of people. It's like that's so horrible. Great
Yeah, and
representation in society.
I didn't realize that I was like a target for that because he I thought he was just like an arc reader. I've never heard I guess he had followed me and I had never like seen this guy
Mhm.
before or interacted with him before, and it was just like it was just a setup, and
Yeah,
anyone could have fallen for it. And you know it just I need to just talk about it, and like I'm glad I'm doing it here. So maybe if it happens to someone in your audience, they can be more aware. Uh, because I really don't think that what he was saying was true. Because if it was,
oh
I
yeah,
would
it
I
wasn't.
would have pulled the book. I would have
Uh-huh.
pushed back the release date if I thought that there was a genuine problem, but I just didn't see it. And nobody else has commented on it either. So
He was just
um
blowing it out of proportion to make you like feel scared,
I
trying to make
think
you like
so.
jump on
Yeah.
it. Like, oh, I have, it's coming out soon. I have to get a new editor or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
Using
that's
fear to
yeah,
try and
exactly.
coerce you into probably paying him a bunch of money.
Yeah,
For only
I
two
think
thousand
that's
dollars. So
I think that's exactly what happened. And it's just unfortunate because it like really screwed with my head a little bit
Mhm.
because I thought I had done all this and that the book was just trash and that I did
Yeah,
a really bad job. And like all these people looked at it because it wasn't just Brandon Sanderson's editor that looked at it. She had two other people in her company look at it too. So, I had so many people look at it, and I thought I swear, like if it was unreadable, they would have had to have told me.
I'm pretty sure they can discern an unreadable book. Like,
Oh gosh. And like, and I'm prone to writing like wordy sentences, and like I told you, I'm not good at grammar. So
yeah,
like
no one's
I
perfect.
could, and so like I can see that like that could be improved upon
Mhm.
on the next book or something, and like that's definitely something like I would have to work on. But if I felt like if what I'm trying to communicate is communicated and understood, then, you know, I've done my job. Like, could it be better? Yeah. Every sentence could be improved
Yeah.
anywhere you go. But as long as if people understand what's happening, then,
Mhm.
like that's the most important. In like, yeah, using the adjective to describe fiery, yeah, it is stupid, and I changed it. But like
It's not
I
that
don't
big of a
know.
deal though. I
But
mean,
like that was his one example that he gave me
that's the
though. Like
one.
that's like your worst, because if I was doing this and I knew someone was releasing a book in a month and like I found a bunch of issues, I would
Mhm.
give them the worst
Yeah.
thing that I had found and be like, this is your biggest problem,
Huh?
fix that first.
Yeah.
But then he comes up with that.
I mean, like, and honestly, like, how big of an issue is that? I mean, honestly, like, I'm trying to think of myself reading a book. If I read Fiery and Story, it's like I probably would I just read it. And
Well, that's
I
what my
mean,
sister
I get
said.
it, like, as authors, we're like, don't do that. But as
Yeah.
a reader, it's like probably wouldn't really think about that for more than a second. I'd turn the page and I just
Yeah.
remember the burning building.
Exactly. That's exactly what my sister said. And she's like, I don't think she said the exact same thing. She's like, I wouldn't even probably have even noticed that was,
Yeah.
silly, and so that's when, because he wrote me a really long thing, and I I have a tendency when I read things, like, or if they're upsetting or something, I'll like skim them really quickly and
Mhm.
not read them fully.
That's
And
a good
so
habit to have.
it's awful. And so when I read his first thing about basically how much he loved it, and then he's like, "You got scammed, blah blah blah," and then I called my sister immediately, and then she's like, "Okay, just send me what he sent you," and I did, and she was reading it out loud to me. In the moment she read the sentence that he said with the word "fiery," we both were like, "Wait, what?" Because I
Yeah.
was expecting him to come back with a sentence that was confusing, it made no
Yeah.
sense, was like had a wrong word in it or
Mhm.
something. And I was like, wait, that's what he was talking about.
That's
So
it.
it threw both of us, and we were like, wait,
That's my
what?
biggest problem, huh? That's
That's the biggest problem in my book. I don't think that it's,
you're doing pretty good if that's your biggest.
yeah. And I mean, there were actual errors there that he could
Mhm.
have pointed out. Like, why didn't you point out like an actual error?
Okay,
That's
what page was this on? Just out of curiosity.
it was on like page 5. It was a
Okay,
very,
so legitimately, he probably like just read it and like found the first thing that didn't sound quite right.
yeah, there was an error on like the second paragraph that I found. It didn't even mention that. Yeah, it
If
was
he,
something about,
you
there was
just
the
don't
word,
see this stuff as readers.
yeah, and I remember when I read that the first time, I was like, oh my God, it's on the second paragraph, for
Second
God's sake.
paragraph.
And so I was more pissed off about that. And of course I
Yeah,
fixed it. And so, because it was something about how the orphanage dining room was alight with whatever, and it said the orphanage dining room was on a light. So the on was there in front of it, and it shouldn't have been. And so I was like, why
yeah.
didn't you give me that example? Like, that
Like
would
this
have
is a
made
legit
sense.
criticism. This is
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah,
Instead, you give
I
me
know.
fiery,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fiery
So
fire.
yeah, I think he was a scammer. So it's just it's just, I don't get it. Like, I don't get
Yeah,
why someone would do that to like a brand new author. So it's just
it's
unfortunate.
there are just some really toxic people. So okay, so in my Facebook group, we had a bit of a blow up a couple
Oh
months
God.
ago. We had a big blow up, and
Shit.
basically, so my group does good. We
Mhm.
gain like I think we're like 400 new members a day.
Oh
Um,
wow.
good.
That's great.
Yeah, and so last December I had a jaw surgery. And so I was out of it, like painkillers and all sorts of goodies. And I noticed during that time, because I'm weird, I check analytics like every day.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, we aren't growing at all,
Mhm.
like an entire month or month plus,
Interesting.
like no new members. And I'm looking
Okay.
at the
Yeah, that's weird.
analytics, I'm like, it's going uphill, but we're not gaining people. What's going on? And one of our moderators, it turned was so she had an editing thing, which I thought she was legit. We all thought I'd known her before this, and people vouched. She's a scammer, and she
Oh
was
no.
deleting more people every day, hundreds of people every day, who are all other editors in competition.
I've heard that happen in
It
groups like this.
happened to
I had
other
another,
groups. It
yeah,
happened to
I
another
had
group.
it did. The lady who did my formatting, this happened in her group by one of her moderators.
Samantha.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. She got a hold of me.
yeah,
She got a
she's
hold
my
of me.
formatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Hey, I heard this happened to you." And so we started talking, and this person just went to group and started doing that.
So it was the same person
Same
for both
person.
of you?
Same person.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and
What
it
the
blew up,
fuck?
and like was this whole thing doing fake profiles, doing all this stuff, and
Why?
was like, yeah, I don't know why she did it. I'd known her for months, and I don't think she was doing it for a long time. And then she just started. And that's kind of what they said too, is like for a while, great. And then she started like kind of slowly encroaching. Like, and I didn't register it at first, but like I would post videos, because I started doing videos back then. I took a break, and they wouldn't be in my pinned area. And I'm like, that's weird. Maybe Facebook's just, being Facebook or something and acting weird.
Mhm.
She was taking them down and deleting them
That is so weird.
and
Like,
just doing,
why?
yeah, and just deleting people. And I don't know why she's doing it. I guess to be the only editor, because she was promoting her stuff, of course. But yeah, and
Wow.
just like people sent me emails that had gotten from her, and they were sketchy, and just all this crazy crap unfolded. And it's like, why would you
Yep.
do this? It's like you months of planning, and you've done this multiple times. It's like, why would you commit this much time and energy to this?
Yeah.
Whenever it's like, man, you could promote yourself as much as you want. It's like, do you really have to go hurt people? Do you really
Uh,
have to like kick people out? Because I would get, and the only reason I really know is because I'm the admin, but I have moderators because I'm a busy guy and I don't often do stuff myself unless I just happen to see it. I'm
yeah.
getting a lot of messages like, "Hey, I just got kicked out of your group," but I'm like, I had somebody. She's good friends with that agent I interviewed. Awesome person. She got kicked out 3 times, and she's like, "Why
That
does this
is,
keep happening?" I'm like, "I don't know what's happening right now." And I'd
oh,
even messaged the group. I'm like, "Guys, do not kick this person out. They are a legit good person." Um, and I'm like, what the heck? And so whenever that all came out, I was like, oh my gosh. And as soon as she was out of the group, of course, we just went like that. I started gaining people, but it's like you spent months of time. And so I don't get why people do that.
I
It's
don't
like,
either. And it would think that like if she was doing it to the extent like of your group of something that size, like she couldn't handle hundreds of clients
no,
a week. So
like, do
why?
you really? And well, okay, well, I'll tell you why. Because I think the problem with that she wasn't getting them because like her thing said like I have 20 years of experience in the industry. She was like 19.
Oh,
Um,
Jesus.
yeah, and she had no education or like she had,
Oh shit.
yeah, no,
Sorry.
what?
Sorry, I pushed a
Oh,
button. Sorry.
oh,
Keep
but
going. I'm fine.
like, so it was all just a complete scam. And
Wow.
like people who had worked
No.
with her were like, yeah, no, they're not. They sent me super sketchy emails. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I had this person, but you just never know.
Yeah, you don't. And the internet is such a sketchy place, and unfortunately you have to be really careful with like who you let into like those spaces where
Yeah.
they have control, which it seems like
Mm-hmm.
you knew her and you trusted her, and that's even worse.
And the people who vouched for her, other guy, he's a moderator, he's an admin now. He's legit, he's fine. But even he was like, man, I had no idea that any of this stuff was going on. And he felt bad
Crazy
about it.
people.
Yeah. I honestly, whenever if you're gonna get an editor or a cover designer or anything like that, I think it has to be somebody who done books that and read, like legit books, like Brandon Sanderson, or you have to
Hmm.
know them personally.
Oh
Like
yeah.
my editor Ashley, we've been following each other on Instagram stuff for years. Like I saw this
Yeah.
person go to college
Yeah.
and we get the degree. It's like I know that. And do you know who Tara Wine Queen is? Do you ever see her
Hmm.
tweet? Tara, oh, she's pretty big on social media, but she did beta reading for me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, it was really awesome. She was great. But it's like if you're actually gonna give somebody money, I feel like you have to actually have some legit connection where you can actually say, I know they're not a scammer
Yeah.
because for every legit person, there are probably like 20 scammers. And you just don't
Yeah.
know
You don't. Yeah. And anybody can call themselves an editor too
anyone.
and just
Yeah.
screw you big time.
For our final thing tonight, could you maybe just give us a quick pitch for your book? Just to put you on
I
the spot.
hate these. I
Just
hate
to
these so much. Um,
everyone does. Sell us your
yeah.
book.
So it follows. It's a young adult YA sci-fi fantasy with a metaphysical twist to it, and it follows a girl. Her name is Kara, and she is living in like a, I wouldn't call it post-apocalyptic, but like she's living on Earth during an alien occupation. The aliens are there, they're occupying Earth, and the aliens kidnapped her friend, her best friend. And so that happened when they were children, and now she's 17 and she is working with the human resistance that wants to bring the aliens down and end the occupation. And so she is ready for her revenge, and she wants her friend back, and she wants to
That's
bring these
awesome.
aliens down.
That is so
Uh,
cool.
yeah. And so it basically starts off with the story of what happens to her and her friend. But she also has this mark on her chest, and it's shaped like a geometric star, and that is
Oh,
the
that's cool.
source of her magical powers, and that
Okay.
she knows the occupation is looking for her
Uh-huh.
because they want her power and stuff. And so she is working with the resistance, and she's trying to do this major hit to try to capture one of their commanders,
Mhm.
and things don't go as planned, and she ends up in a bad situation where she essentially has to spy on the occupation. So it's cool.
That is awesome. That
Yeah.
is that is really awesome. And
Yeah.
where can we buy this? Or well, because it's coming out soon.
Yeah, so it releases September 6th, and you could get it on Amazon for now. It will be available on like Barnes and Nobles soon.
Mhm.
It just depends on when Ingram populates it.
Okay.
Because
Oh,
I've
okay.
heard when you upload, it kind of takes some
Mm. Yeah,
time.
I've heard that.
So hopefully it'll be done by release date. If not, it'll
Yeah.
definitely be on Amazon in ebook and paperback.
Can you pre-order it?
Yes, I'm starting pre-orders either on the 29th or the 30th.
Okay.
For
I'll try
ebook
if
only
there's
though.
like let me know when a link comes out and I'll add that to the comments.
Okay, I will.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful speaking with you.
Yeah, I
And
had a
just
great
this
time.
was awesome.